Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with an awesome new knife consult for you on a knife that I'm about 2 years late in reviewing. This is the Olamic Swish. This is a knife that came out, I want to say back in like 2017, and it has taken this long for me to get one in hand. If you go way back on my channel, one of the very first custom knives that I ever got, maybe the second custom knife I ever bought, was an Olamic Rainmaker. Unfortunately, that knife was plagued with issues, and that left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth with the brand. I tried the Wayfarer 247. I also didn't really like that knife. You can go and see the review that I have on that one. I know Nick Shabazz called that his favorite knife of 2016, but it was kind of so-so. And then I tried the Busker being their tiny little knife, and I saw a glimmer of hope. I think it was extremely well made, and I thought it was a nice little knife if you're into little knives. I'm not really into smaller knives, I'm into larger knives. And so finally, I've gotten the Swish on my table. This is their 3.8-inch version of an EDC knife. And honestly, I'm really thankful to get to try this. I wanted to thank my friend. He goes by Pokey_Slicey on Instagram. Thank you for sending this one along. He just got this knife and he sent it to me. It's basically new from the maker. They come in these nice cases. Olamic's cases are extremely nice. They do collect a lot of fuzz, but they're super nice cases. On the inside, you're going to see that this has a certificate of authenticity. It is the Swish with an Elmax blade, with an acid rain handle, with a kinetic mist finish, and molten purple hardware. Born at the end of 2018. And they also include this, which is a tool for their proprietary pivot, and that has been a source of contention amongst a lot of the other reviewers out there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this knife real quick. This is a swayback style design with the way that the knife just swoops. It is a flipper frame lock with titanium and Elmax steel. So super nice quality and great materials right off the bat. And certainly this version is very eye-catching. One of the things about Olamic that they do extremely well is their customization options. The Swish is available in an infinite number of different customizable features, and they will work with you to customize the knife to your specific liking. Sometimes they will even go above and beyond. The thing that Olamic does, and the thing that drew me to them very early in my knife collecting hobby, was that their customization options seem so attainable and approachable. They do such a nice job of saying, please tell us what you want and we'll make it work. And this is another example of that, and we'll go through the details of what my friend here chose for his finishes. So let's go ahead and get some vital signs on this guy. As the certificate of authenticity mentioned, this has a very large blade up front, right at 3.8 inches, all the way back to the handle. You're looking at about 4.4, almost 4.5 back to the pivot, and you're looking at 8.75 to 8.8 inches of overall length. I have to move this knife, it's so big. The handle length is coming in at right around 5 inches, just a hair under 5 inches, with a grip area at 4.25 inches. What's really impressive about this knife is the blade to handle ratio. You have a relatively short handle for how much blade you have. I really think that that has a lot to do with the curvature of the knife. And that's something that I like to focus on. That's one of the real measures of an excellent knife maker or knife engineer, is the blade to handle ratio. How much blade can they pack in here? This does an excellent job of making use of its own real estate right here. Let me pull out the old calipers right here, get them zeroed up. The blade stock is coming in at 140 thousandths on the dot, and the handle thickness is just under half an inch at 0.492. And so very nice measurements. It's not the thickest blade stock and a nice thin handle, and so that's really nice. So even though it's a long knife, it keeps its profile very slim. Here, I'll bring out another couple of knives for a size comparison. You can see that it is actually substantially larger than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I'll bring out the Spyderco Subvert, which is going to be the stand-in for my absolutely massive knife right now. So the Swish is a big knife, but it is not an absolutely massive knife. I'll bring out another high-end knife right here is a Koenig Arius. I think that is a similar overall size category right there. So if you're familiar with the Arius, you'll be familiar with the size of the Swish, slightly larger. So I like it. I like the larger size. I see why my good friend Kevin Cleary absolutely loves this knife. Let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically and see what we are working with. Up front is this beautifully done blade of Elmax steel. Elmax is a great steel. It's made by Bohler Elmax. It is similar in nature to M390. It's the more affordable younger brother of M390, a very high quality stainless cutlery steel that has been chemically engineered to be very hard and also very tough. It's a good steel, and if it is treated correctly, then it makes for a very nice blade. What I have seen and heard about these knives is that Elmax is treated beautifully by the Olamic folks, and so you have nothing to fear about these blades. Something I really like is the design of the blade and the way that it swoops. As I mentioned before, it's got a bit of a swayback style design where it really has this exaggerated, I'm going to call it a lordotic curve because that's what I would call it in spine surgery. But it really aids in the ability to use the blade against a flat surface. I'm able to get basically the center of the belly of the blade onto the flat surface, and none of my fingers are touching the mat right now. It's actually limited not by my fingers but by its own flipper tab, and so you can actually use quite a bit of that blade against a flat surface in a very comfortable and ergonomic way. I really do like that. It also sets the blade in such a way that as you try to do push cuts, it allows material to travel along the blade in a very ergonomic and nice way. And it allows for a nice over-the-top handling technique, which is something that I find myself doing quite often to open packages and other things. This is a nice, a very common grip that I use for some of my uses for knives. Anyways, another thing that adds to this is the nature of the full flat grind. Here it is a full flat grind out at the tip, and so it provides a very fine tip. Sorry, you're seeing my bright blue scrubs. And reflecting on that satin finish right there. You can see the tip is quite fine, allows for some nice pokey, slicey type of cuts like my friend's name is who owns this knife. So very nice. It has a fuller in the blade. Now this is something that you're either going to like or you're not going to like. I think my pal Nick Shabazz just doesn't like fullers based on principle. What a fuller does is it can lighten the blade. People say that it strengthens the blade. Some people say that it removes the vacuum effect when you're removing the blade from a living creature. Whatever the case may be, at this point in knife making, it is simply a stylistic cue. I will say that this one has been done very well. It's going to be easy to clean. It's very beautiful to look at. They still have a full flat ground area of the blade, and so I don't think that this compromises the knife in any significant way. As a matter of fact, what I think it does is that it actually adds to the fidgetability of this knife because you can get your finger in here and flick the knife open just using the fuller. So to be honest, I enjoy that, and I'm glad that they added it to it. It also adds a very nice visual line that accentuates the swayback nature of the blade. So I really do like that. Looking back here, there is a bit of a not so much of a sharpening choil right here. I wish that they had included a bit of a better one, but it is a nice long area of blade. I think they wanted to just maximize the amount of blade that they had, and they most certainly did there. The rounded nature of the front of the flipper tab does allow for a choked up type of grip. I wouldn't recommend doing this with any sort of hard use, but I can put my entire finger right here rather comfortably for a choked up grip. In the normal position right here, it is extremely comfortable, and your fingers are very close to the blade already. I think that that's something that really aids in the usability of a knife like that. Moving back to the pivot, this guy is running on caged ball bearings. Very smooth action. This is where I feel like this knife really took a step forward over the 24/7. I did not like the action on the Wayfarer 24/7. I handled a few of them and they all felt more or less the same. It just wasn't that smooth. I mean, it just felt kind of like not a great production knife attempt at a flipper tab. This feels great. This has a very, very, very nice action. Truly unique. It's not going to be the smoothest fastest knife you've ever had in terms of drop shut. It can be flicked shut, and I imagine that if this were broken in over a year or so, it will become even smoother than this. But what it does have is a glass smooth opening and closing. It just feels incredibly smooth. It just has this quality to it that has to be felt to be understood. It's not going to cut your finger off, and I honestly like that. I like a nice controlled amount of friction, and this is exactly what it has. It is tuned, it is engineered, and it feels exactly like that, and is quite nice. The detent is tuned in such a way that it's light enough for an easy flick, as well as an easy finger flick, as well as your thumb flick. If I can really, this is harder to do for me with the smaller thumb hole right there, but you can do it. You can even do it the old-fashioned way and just roll it out just like this if you want to. I'm just going to put fingerprints all over it. I'm going to keep this nice and clean for the video's sake. What they do for the pivot hardware is quite nice on this one. It features molten style pivot hardware. This is where the customizations really come in. And that's where I'll just go ahead and move back right here and talk about the handle. I'll say the detent is tuned perfectly for this knife, and the lockup is very easy, and it becomes disengaged very easily. Just a very nice detent lockup. Very solid lockup. Will not fail. Tried a little spine tap test on this, and it did not fail. Extremely, extremely smooth. I'm looking in there. Ceramic detent ball on this one. Super nice. Moving back to the handle, this is where the customization options really take off. They will allow you to do different finishes on the blades. This one features a satin finished blade, a belt satin finish. What is also available are PVD coated. They have different acid washes, stone washes. You think if you can name a finish, they will do it for you. Back here on the handle, this is all titanium here. Look at the extensive work that's gone on here. It's going to take me a minute just to go through everything that they've done. So the pivot, as I mentioned, is molten type titanium that's been anodized purple. It's got some bronze hues from my finger oils. The titanium is finished in what's called the kinetic mist finish. So it looks like almost like a tree bark pattern. It's not like it's really a very unique finish. Then this features the acid rain style holes. This really lightens the knife significantly. The original version, I think, came in around maybe the 5-ounce mark or somewhere around there. This one is coming in around 4. Correct me if I'm wrong about the original weight, but there's a significant amount of weight reduction that comes in from milling this many holes in there. What's beautiful to see is the chamfers around the holes. Look at how they glisten in the light as you move it around. Super nice. And you can also see into the knife, so you can see the blade sitting there. You can actually see the backspacer. Let me see if I can get the light. You see the purple backspacer on both sides. I almost wish that they had done a little bit more work to the backspacer. Speaking of which, take a look at this. This is the molten style. They did a lot of work on the top, and they even did it on the inside. Let's see if I can catch that in the light at all for you guys. It's kind of hard. Maybe not. Anyways, they did it partially on the inside. I wish they had done a bit on the sides with this acid rain style. It also has purple anodized screws back here. Notice that the backspacer is floating, so you can actually see my fingers in between there. It's on purpose. Very nicely done. Super nice attention to detail on this. Every single piece has been touched and perfected. Look at the inside of this now. You can see that the other side has been jeweled. So the inside of both of these frames have been jeweled. And so you can see that through the acid rain pattern. So this is just a beautifully done knife. This is a beautifully conceived and executed piece. Back here there is an integrated lanyard hole. That is in the same shape as the pocket clip, sort of. It's triangular in nature. This is sort of triangular. You can see they put some of the holes on the pocket clip as well. Something I don't really like about this pocket clip is that it's not really tall enough. I know other people have mentioned that too, but I had a lot of trouble fitting this into pants. If you wear scrubs every day, however, this is a great knife. This clip works perfectly. I carried this in my scrubs, and it actually was great. So if you wear really thin pants all the time, it's great. But if you have any kind of real pants, jeans or khakis or 511 pants, certainly, anything like that, you are going to be having a hard time getting this thing into the pocket with any depth. It does stick out quite a bit in situations like that. So I didn't pick this knife up. I didn't buy it because my faith in Olamic was not all that strong, but now it's fully restored. I can't believe it's taken me this long to get this knife in hand. This is a great knife. This is probably my favorite knife that they make right now that I've gotten this in hand. I really love their designs. I think they're beautiful. I still think about getting a Wayfarer custom all the time. I really love the custom work that they do. They make it very approachable for collectors, especially if you're early in the market and you're trying to get your first custom knife. You can take a look at this. They take essentially a production platform and they can customize it in any way you want. And they get really creative. You should go check out their Instagram feed at Olamic Cutlery, I think it is. I'll provide a link down below. I'll provide a link to their website as well, where you can customize all types of knives and learn about them. If you're watching this video, I assume you probably know about Olamic Cutlery already. But they're quite a nice brand, and their owner-operator, Eugene, is a super nice guy to talk to, so definitely reach out to him. And if you're interested in picking one of these up. I know I'm super late in reviewing this, and I'm disappointed in myself that it's taken so long, but thanks to Pokey Slicey for sending this guy along, and thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the Olamic Swish in the comments down below. Click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram as Dr. Frunkey, and as always, take care.